There are lots of ways to make money on your homestead, but not all of them are worth your time, not to mention being profitable or scalable. So I'm going to give you 5 of my favorite ideas for making money on your homestead, whether big or small. And these are all things that are pretty simple to do. So no matter what the size of your homestead, no matter what you've got going on, you should be able to find something here that you could get started with. And I'm going to save my favorite and actually most profitable, the thing I'm doing right now to make the most money for our homestead. I'm going to share that one last, so make sure not to skip it. Let's go. Now, before we get into those 5 things, there is something I want to say here. One of the best things that you can do before focusing on how to make money on your homestead is how you can break even on your homestead. There are lots of different ideas for little things you can do here or there to make back your money on feed or your cost on seeds for the garden. So if you can just break even, if you can have your homestead be a zero cost operation, that's a really sweet spot to be, and I don't want you to discount that. I know we're all here to hear how to make money on the homestead, but I thought that this was something that needed to be said. But if you've already hit that point or you're ready to just cruise right on past that, let's talk about 5 of my favorite ideas for actually making some cash on your homestead. One of the first ways that people often think about for making money on the homestead is to sell garden produce, but I'm going to raise you one better. This is an idea that I've always thought was such a good idea and actually can be more profitable for less work than selling your garden produce, and that is selling seed starts or fruit tree starts. And hear me out, you don't need the plant to get all the way to the harvesting stage and then making sure that you've dealt with the bug pressure, that you've got a really nice looking tomato. You just need to grow that plant up to transplanting age. And because you're selling someone a actual plant, let's talk about a tomato plant, they're going to get more than one tomato off this plant. Because of that, you can sell this transplant that you didn't work quite as hard for as if you were selling them tomatoes at the end of the line. You can sell this for more than you would sell a single tomato. If you're already gardening, you're familiar with seed starting, you're familiar with fruit trees, things like that, you could really have something that could be pretty profitable in that gardening season time, especially if you choose varieties that someone can't get at their big box store or at the local nurseries. So this is something to think about, and think beyond the harvest, beyond the produce, and go back all the way to transplants. And I think that this would be a really great way to make money on your homestead. I think the name of the game when it comes to making money on your homestead is to do something that you're already doing if you can. It is hard work to homestead, it's hard work to farm, and to add an additional thing just for the sake of making some money off of it can be kind of difficult. So for number 2, think about the things that you already have going on your homestead that you are continually getting asked about. Because chances are, if you have family and friends that know that you homestead, know you grow your own food, you raise your own meat, chances are they've made a comment or two about how they would purchase such and such from you, or do you have any extra of this? If you've got somebody that said it would be really cool if you could raise some meat chickens for them, they would totally buy them from you. Or you've got a dairy cow and you've got extra milk, or taking the finished product out of it and kind of going back to the beginning like we talked about with the seed starts, what about things like chicks or pullets or even older laying hens that aren't laying as well for you, but somebody else might want them for their own homestead or their own backyard? If you're thinking about the things that you're already doing and that friends and family have commented on, chances are you could simply double up on that and have a little bit extra to sell. For example, let's talk about chickens. It doesn't really take all that much effort with the right setup to raise 30 chickens versus just 3. So if you can think about the things that you're already doing, how you could add to that without adding much to your workload, and couple that with things that people are already asking about in your friend and family group, well then you've already got the market for that. You are serving a need, and you're not doing much extra work on your own. So sometimes we want to think of these big grand ideas for making money on our homestead, but if we would just open our ears and listen to what people are wanting, your ideas are all right there. Now, what if you don't have a lot of friends or family asking for these things, or you're just not really sure where you would even get the word out? That's where this next one comes in. And again, this is something I've always wanted to do. Say you don't have a good community of people that are asking for these products, you don't know where you would actually sell these products, but you have good road access, or maybe you know someone that does, that would let you set this up, and that is a roadside stand. These can be extremely profitable, and they're actually really popular right now on social media, which is something we're going to talk about later, but these are really in right now. They're very trendy, but if you wanted to set up something really simple, this can actually be a great way to make a little extra money, and this is really low effort, especially if you're doing something like the honor system and you're using technology, some of those digital pay options to help you out here. And really, the sky is the limit on what you could sell at a roadside stand. We're talking produce, cut flowers, maybe honey from your honeybees, baked goods, eggs, herbs, you name it. You could really sell anything there. And I think it's a great way to just diversify. If you're making a loaf of bread, put an extra one out at the road stand. If you've got extra eggs, just toss them out there. Once you get this set up, that's kind of the initial thing, is the initial setup, getting yourself a canopy, a little table, but these things don't have to be expensive. Once you get that initial setup and you've got a way to keep things nice and cool if they need to be, or you've got some signage, this can be something that you just kind of set it and forget it during the day, and it could really help you make some extra profit on your homestead. We've got to talk about workshops, classes, anything of that sort. If you have knowledge when it comes to homesteading, even if it's just been for a year or so, you have something that you could offer, and there are people that want to learn it from real life people, not just the internet. So this could be some type of canning class. This could be butchering meat chickens or meat rabbits or something like that. There are so many things that you can do, and these can be things that can make you a good amount of money per ticket, especially because they're gaining valuable knowledge from you. This is usually something that's hours long. It might be hands-on. So this is something that you could charge a little bit more for potentially, and not need to actually have a physical product, but really just bring people along as you're doing something that you're going to be doing anyway. Say you've got a processing day coming up. Why not invite people along and teach them how to process their own meat chickens? You've got to do this anyway. You could use some extra hands to help, and they could use the knowledge. This is truly a win-win for everybody, and you have the chance to impart your knowledge on others and get paid for that skill. Now, I know that this type of thing is not going to be everybody's cup of tea, but this can have a really good return on investment profit-wise, and it's something that is really scalable. And this kind of leads us into the last tip, and this is the one that has been most profitable for me. Probably not going to want to do it when I tell you what it is, but I think you should hear me out, because if you're wanting to make some money for your small homestead, your farm, and you're not wanting to spend extra time, create extra things, this is the one for you. So let's talk about it. Now, this last one is the one that I know is going to be the most controversial, and I want you to hang with me if you can. And that is that you should use social media to help you make money on your homestead. Now, I know that this is something that is not everybody's cup of tea. This might not be your thing, but the reason I bring it up is because this has given us the absolute greatest return on our time investment out of all of these other things. Now, there are a lot of different ways to go about making money on your homestead using social media, but the first thing I want to say is you already have to let the chickens out anyway. You already have to garden anyway, and these are things that people are interested in online. Think about yourself before you had your homestead, when you were dreaming about your farm and how you were soaking up any and all information that you could about this topic. Other people are the same way. It's educational, it's entertaining, and people want to see the way that you run things on your homestead. It doesn't matter that you see this person and that person online and it's different than how you do it, or maybe it's the exact same. Nobody runs their homestead quite like you do. Nobody is the same as you online, and there is space for all of us to just share the way we're doing things. I'm not saying that you have to go online and pretend like you know everything and tell people how they should run a homestead, but to share how you do things is valuable. For instance, I had absolutely no idea that my signature move was going to be pajamas, but I have 4 small kids. I don't have time to really set up well for filming a lot other than these YouTube videos. So my day-to-day reels and things that I'm sharing, I've just got to set up the camera and go with it. And that happens to be me doing chores in my pajamas like normal. And to be honest, the internet is kind of divided on whether or not they like it, but for the most part, it's just something that's become kind of part of my content. And there are cool things like that about you as well, and ways that you do things. Now, making money on social media could be things like in-platform monetization. So maybe the platform is paying you for views and shares and things like that on your content. It could be that you're already selling things from your farm, but social media marketing would be a great way to get the word out and sell to people even outside of your area. Or maybe you want to create some type of digital product or course or something like that, and this would be a great way to market that. Now, the thing I'm really suggesting here is more of the in-platform monetization, but all of those things are fantastic. And the reason I bring this up, even though you might have already checked out by now, is that this has been the most financially beneficial method for our family by far. And it is the thing that has the potential to be the most scalable, the most profitable, and really allow you to not do much extra work other than setting up your camera and figuring out how to edit it and what you want to say about the video later. This has the potential to be the least amount of work on your end with the highest profit and really no limits to the amount of profit. If this is something that you want more specifics on, you want to actually know the how and the why and the ideas and the tips, I would love to talk about this. Like I said, social media has been a huge blessing for our family, and I would love to see more homesteaders really use technology and this social environment that we're all in to our benefit. It is a great time to be a homesteader. Modern homesteading is fantastic, and I really think that using technology and the social environment of our society to our benefit can really pay off for our homesteads as we seek to live a slower, more traditional lifestyle. So if you want me to make more videos on this topic, you got to let me know. This is a little out of my wheelhouse here on YouTube, but I would be more than happy to do it because it's something that I love talking about, and I really think it can be super helpful for other homesteads. Now, if you enjoyed this video, would you go ahead and like, comment, subscribe, do all the things. And if you did like this video, I think you'd really like this one, all on all the mistakes we made on our homestead when we were starting out. There's quite a few, and I think this might help you avoid some of those mistakes if you're starting out on your journey, or if you're just thinking about some things that maybe you could change on your already existing homestead. I hope you enjoyed this video, and until next time, I will see you guys later. Hope you're having a great day. Bye.